William Paley, British Christian apologist and philosopher of the late 18th and early 19th centuries, once wrote that design, divine design, can be easily detected in nature's most marvelous works. In his book, Natural Theology, published in 1802, he penned the following argument.
In crossing a heath, suppose I pitched my foot against a stone, and were asked how the stone came to be there, I might possibly answer that, for anything I knew to the contrary, it had lain there forever. Nor would it perhaps be very easy to show the absurdity of this answer. But suppose I had found a watch upon the ground, and it should be inquired how the watch happened to be in that place. I should hardly think of the answer I had before given, that for anything I knew the watch might always have been there. There must have existed at some time, and at some place or other, an artificer or artificers, who formed the watch for the purpose which we find it actually to answer, who comprehended its construction and designed its use. Every indication of contrivance, every manifestation of design which existed in the watch exists in the works of nature, with the difference on the side of nature of being greater or more, and that in a degree which exceeds all computation.
And this idea has had ardent followers ever since. Indeed, the notion of finding evidence of divine design is an ancient idea, even expressed in the Bible as well. Genesis 1:1 and Psalm 19:1 read, respectively, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth," and "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." So we're in good company with such an idea when it has its roots so deeply buried in human experience. The idea, of course, has found new purchase in today's world among biblical creationists and intelligent design advocates. For them, design can be found in such things as the human eye and the bacterial flagellum. In Paley's narrative, the most famous of the presentations of the idea of intelligent design, he asks us to take a walk with him across a heath, and in this heath we find a watch. Discovering this watch, we would never assume it formed itself. It is obviously an artifact of intelligent design. And we know this how? We know this because we unconsciously compare the watch to products of natural causes. In contrast to the watch in the heath. The heath itself stands in contrast to the watch. The heath is of natural design. We understand the processes and products of geology, heaths being among them. We are not stunned traipsing along the heath when we stumble into shrubs. Indeed, the entire heath is filled with them. We never stop and look at a shrub and think, goodness, this must be the product of an intelligent designer. We've never seen an intelligence design a shrub, outside a painting or stage prop. Heaths naturally have shrubs, which is why the watch would stand in such stark contrast to all the low-lying vegetation. It is the very fact that nature isn't designed that allows us to see the watch as a product of intelligent design. And not only that, but we know why intelligently designed objects were designed. Designed objects are designed for a specific purpose. A watch, for example, is designed to tell time. When you see this, you know it was intelligently designed, because it doesn't look like this. And we know for what purpose this was designed. But creationists will tell you this was designed. How do they know? When you see this, you know it was intelligently designed, because it doesn't look like this. And we know for what purpose this was designed. But creationists will tell you this was designed. How do they know? When you see this, you know it was intelligently designed, because it doesn't look like this. And we know for what purpose this was designed. But creationists will tell you this was designed. How do they know? When you see this, you know it was intelligently designed, because it doesn't look like this. And we know for what purpose this was designed. But creationists will tell you this was designed. How do they know? How do they know? Do they know because a watch doesn't look like a rock or a shrub? But then they'll claim the rock and especially the shrub were designed. But designed by whom? The only intelligences we know that design things are biological intelligences, mainly human beings. Human beings are biological entities which possess the kind of intelligence that can design things. One could argue that other animals design, maybe even some insects, but these are biological too. So this tells us nothing about a supernatural intelligence which designs. How can it follow that a supernatural intelligence would design in the same way a natural intelligence does? One cannot simply point to something complicated in nature and say that it is an example of design from a supernatural intelligence because it resembles in some rudimentary fashion something from human design. The only thing that can be said is that the something resembles design, and that merely says that nature sometimes mimics intelligent design. Nothing more can possibly be said until the proponent of intelligent design can answer how this supernatural intelligence designs, why this supernatural intelligence designs, and who this supernatural designer is. These are questions that can be answered of natural intelligences, so why not of supernatural? Until then, the idea of design by a supernatural intelligence is a delusion.